Hey everybody, it's Judy and welcome to the More Than Enough Women Circle. Today's Facebook Live is all about drain the blame and go from toxic to epic teams. Now, I also want to just point out the fact that, this is really common. I hear about this a lot from the people that I work with. When I'm giving workshops, people come up to me and have conversations about how much blame there is and what kind of toxic environments there are sometimes in their teams. And that's what I want to address today, because I just have been hearing it again and again. And, those toxic environments, we don't even want to go to work, right? So I really want to address this. It's an important topic, and we're going to dive right in. But I do want to remember, as people are logging in, I do want to mention that, like and share this information, because chances are you either know of somebody who's dealing with something like this, or you yourself are dealing with this. And having toxic teams, it just makes our life so much harder, and it creates more overwhelm and upset and stress in our lives that we just don't need. So with that said, again, I want to acknowledge that some of the behavior that happens in some of our teams, maybe it's that people are blaming other people for the predicament that they're in, because they really want to deflect responsibility. Or maybe it looks like people are ignoring or pretending that there's not a problem, just so that they don't have to deal with the drama and the actual problem that's there. Or maybe there's a denial of responsibility of like, that's not mine, like hot potato, just to avoid more work because people are so stressed out. Or maybe the cause is that there's a claim of confusion. Oh, I don't know what's going on. And that gives them a reason why they're not being active or proactive or addressing something, right? So if you've seen some of these behaviors, that's part of the problem. Part of the problem that creates these toxic environments is that these are common behaviors, right? So here's one visual that I've seen online quite a bit, and this may look familiar to you, but here it is. It looks like this. I just want to make sure it's in frame. And it talks about, what's above the line thinking and what's below the line thinking. And you'll notice that the above the line thinking is all about being at cause, having, clarity and thinking about results and hope, and really having that acceptance and solution orientation. Whereas the below the line behavior is all about that toxic stuff, right? It's blame. It's really looking at excuses, at, pushing things off to other people. So looking only at problems as opposed to looking for solutions, and having vagueness, right? So this is what that environment looks like. And this is really common. And if you want a copy of this, you can definitely give me something in a private, you can give me your email and I can send this over to you. But here's the thing. Here's what I want you to walk away with, is that there is above the line behavior and below the line behavior. And it is so obvious when we go below the line. When you're playing below the line, that's toxic, and it creates a toxic team environment. So if that's the problem, well, what do we do about it? Well, again, coming back to this visual, you know what? Stay above the line. Stay above the line with those behaviors where you are looking at being results-oriented, looking at taking action, right? Having acceptance, creating a sense of hope, right? Having 100% responsibility. That's part of the solution. And what's so interesting is, I'll tell you a quick story. I literally had somebody contact me recently, very recently, to share a story that, it was really funny, but at the same time, it really hit home for this particular topic, because they were saying that in their environment, in their workplace, their culture, and it's even like a joke. It's like, oh, as soon as something comes up, they do a sign like this, right? They do the pointing of the finger at, two different ways because they don't want to point the finger at themselves. And it becomes this joke in the culture, but it's kind of that sad joke. It's not like a haha joke. It's like, oh yeah, we have to accept that that's actually the culture that we have in our organization, that we actually point fingers at everyone else. And we know that that's the blame game. We have the blame game. We know it. And it's part of the culture. And we actually accept it. Well, for you, I actually want to offer you that, you know what? You don't necessarily need to involve yourself in the blame game. And you may say, oh, well, Judy, everyone else is doing it. Really? Well, if there's going to be a change in the culture of your teams, you need, especially if you are the leader, you really need to step up and be that voice or that person that really steps out of that below the line behavior and really is involving yourself and showcasing and modeling that behavior of being above the line. So I also like to think about the concept of, be lame or be responsible, right? As a leader, you can be lame. You can be a part of the blame, be the lame person, be the lame duck in that organization where you're just going to, just go along with the flow, right? This is one case where I would say, don't go with the flow. Don't go with the flow if the flow or the culture is to go below the line. That kind of behavior isn't helping anybody. And if you can be responsible, right? Responsible, and I know I spelled it wrong, but be responsible. Have the ability to be a leader that's responsible and step into that responsibility. And it could be a peer-to-peer relationship where there's that person that you work with and they are, really playing below the line and blaming and being in that toxic environment and having those behaviors that really don't support a productive place. So you don't necessarily have to play that game. And I also want to say hello to Kim. Hey, Kim, how are you? Good to see you here. I also want to offer, there's another resource, a really great principle. It's called the Oz Principle, O-Z, Oz Principle. And they also talk about the above the line, below the line behavior. So I hope you can see this. And what the Oz Principle talks about that below the line behavior is a lot of what I've already talked about. It's about the wait and see. If you're that person that's going to wait and see, oh, let me see what happens. Let me see what the leader does. Well, then you're really not being that proactive person. Or if you're the person that says, oh, it's not my job, right? That's also below the line behavior. Or the finger pointing, which we talked about, ignoring or denying that there's something going on, like let's just pretend, let's just sweep it underneath the rug, right? Or if cover your tail, oh, CYA. How many of you actually have been in those kind of cultures, right? Where it's cover your butt, make sure that you're always making sure that everybody knows that you're doing your part of the job, but you're not necessarily willing to give feedback to people who maybe not be carrying their weight, right? But you're covering yourself okay. And that's still below the line behavior. And then the last one is that, oh, I'm just going to pretend that I'm confused. Oh, I didn't understand that was a problem. Again, that is all about the below the line behavior. So what do we do about it, right? What is it that we do that's the solution? It's really 4 behaviors. It's really easy to remember. It's see it, own it, solve it, and do it. Really easy. So you see it. You see the problem. You identify the problem. You own the problem. What is it about that problem that you can own, that you can take steps for, and you can take steps towards to make things different? Maybe it is calling in other peers or your boss or your client and letting them know that there is a problem and that we're going to own it. Take 100% responsibility. Then be solution oriented. The best people, when I was in corporate, the best people that work for me, and even the people that work for me now, I love solution-oriented people. If you just come to me with a problem, I'm kind of a little annoyed, to be honest with you. Come to me with solutions. Even if it's half-baked, I don't care. Just come to a solution. And then do something about it. Actually take action. There's nothing like people who have a great solution who do nothing about it, right? It's like everybody's waiting for somebody to do something. Just take action. Just take one step. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to take one step. And, oh, Kim, it's your first live event. All right. Well, great to have you here. It's really awesome to have you here. So I'm going to pause for a moment. And if there's any questions, just let me know. You can post them in the chat. And if you're joining late, know that you can always come back, post a question, tag me, and I will definitely try to respond within about 24, 48 hours. I'm usually pretty quick about answering questions, so be sure to ask your questions even if you're watching this late. So going back to the solution, right? We know what the problem is. It's all those behaviors that create that below the line toxic team environment. And the above the line behaviors are all about being able to see the problem, own it, solve it, and do something about it. And that will actually put you in a place of being a leader, facilitating leadership within your team, whether it's a team of peers or whether you are heading up that team, whether it is working with a client or working with all the people that work for you if you're an entrepreneur, right? These are all great behaviors to have. And it drains the blame. It takes away that toxic environment. It takes away a lot of stress and burnout, because if we're constantly worrying about those below the line behaviors, they're draining. Nobody likes to be in those types of scenarios. We all want to be in A teams and high performing teams, right? So be able to do that. And going back to my other, way of looking at it is be response-able. Be that leader that is able to respond to a problem, take action. Don't be the leader that is, you don't want to be lame. Don't be lame, be responsible. So that's my closing comments. And if there's any other questions, please let me know. And if you want to receive any of these diagrams, any of these pictures, I would be more than happy to send those to you. Just send me a private message with your email address, and I'll be more than happy to send them to you. So, as always, I hope that this helps you break the cycle, even just a little bit more of overcommitment, burnout, and blame. And I look forward to seeing you again at the More Than Enough Women's Circle Facebook Lives. And I'll see you then. Have a great day. Bye for now.